Okay, this story, stop the share. This story is, I'm sorry if I told it before, but it's a good story anyway. It was 1953. The Lubavitcher Rebbe had been the head of Lubavitch movement, the whole Chassidim. For 2 years, he took over in 1951. Oh, the year is 1953. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe had been the Rebbe already for 2 years. He took over in 1951. His father-in-law, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, passed away a year earlier, and now he's the Rebbe. So it was Purim. It was very happy for bringing in Purim. It was in 1953, very happy for bringing. And all of a sudden, the Rebbe told a story. He told a story. And the story was that he broke into the middle of what he was saying. It had no apparent connection to what he was saying. He just told a story. Like all of a sudden, he remembered something. He didn't want to forget it. That's what it seemed. And so he said, once there was a Chassid, and there was elections in Russia. And this Chassid was told that he had to go and vote. The Rebbe said everybody had to vote. So the Chassid never voted before. He didn't know where the voting office was. He had no idea what it was. So he went and he voted. He went and he voted. And he came out, there were people in the streets. And it ended up that one of the candidates won. And everyone was yelling, hoorah. And this is where I heard it, that he asked another religious person, what happened, who won? He said, the one that your Rebbe wanted to win. And everyone was yelling out, hoorah. Have you ever seen the Putin with all the army, right? Everybody yells, hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. It's like, 20,000 soldiers, very impressive, hoorah. So everyone's yelling out, hoorah. In America, they yell, yay, whoa, whatever it is. And in Russia, altogether, hoorah, hoorah. So the Rebbe said, so everyone started saying, hoorah, hoorah. And so this Chassid also said, hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. And the Rebbe said it several times. And people at first were very surprised, but they realized that the Rebbe wanted them to continue to join him. And they were all yelling, hoorah, hoorah. And I think the Rebbe did it again in the middle of the story. But in any case, he did hoorah. Now, nobody could figure out what's going on. Now, in Hebrew, the word hoorah means he is bad. Hoorah, he is bad. Ra means bad. Hoorah. So they say hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. They couldn't find it out. And that Motzi Shabbat, that was a beginning on Shabbat, or a Purim, whatever, Purim. In any case, after Purim, the holiday of Purim was over. So the news came that Stalin had suffered a stroke. And then a couple of days later, they came out that really he hadn't suffered a stroke. He died. He died. He had a sudden heart attack, and he died. He died. Now, it was revealed later that Stalin was in the middle of a big plan to kill all the Jews. It was called the Doctor's Plot. The Doctor's Plot. He threatened or whatever. He had officials come and say that there were several doctors, 10 doctors, 12 doctors, a certain number, and all the doctors were Jewish. And that these doctors, Jewish doctors, they had a plan to poison all of the water in Moscow, or to kill Stalin, whatever it is. That was, I'm telling the story how I heard it. The boys know. And so it got around to the point, he started this a while before. And he fanned up the people. I mean, false news didn't just start now, it was a long time ago. And so he fanned up all the people that people didn't want to go to Jewish doctors anymore. And Jewish doctors were getting evicted from universities and from their positions because everybody suspected them. The Jews have this, insidious plan to, poison all of Russia. And all these doctors that were imprisoned, and there was going to be the big doctors' trial, where they were going to get a fair trial. Of course, understand what that meant. And Stalin, in his great beneficence, or whatever it's called, he already planned a way to save the Jews. and he prepared cities or one big city in Siberia. And he, for the benefit of the Jews, so the Jews would not be killed by the populace, so he was going to protect them, and he was going to put them all on trains and send all the Jews to Siberia. That's what he's going to do. And the plan is that 1/3 would die on the way, and 1/3 would die when they got there, and the rest would be in exile. That was his plan. And his plan was really working. The doctor's trial was supposed to be very, very soon, and all of a sudden, Stalin had a heart attack on Purim, 1953. And everyone linked it up to the fact that it was the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe actually brought about his demise, which is too bad that he didn't demise himself. Years earlier would have saved, a lot of lives. So, but nevertheless, so we see that something like now that Bilam tried to curse the Jews, but it didn't work out. In Bilam's case, the curses turned into big blessings. In the case of Stalin, it was a blessing that he died. But it didn't exactly transform it to beneficial blessings. But one thing that did transform it is that people sort of saw the power of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, that the Lubavitcher Rebbe worried about all the Jews. And when there was this terrible catastrophe, that he was able to say that, okay, I know there's people are going to have a question, why couldn't he do more? Why couldn't he stop the Holocaust? Because I have the same questions. But nevertheless, the little bit that he did do good, as he did do good miraculously, because you can't do good against the will of God. It's just, like Moses prayed 515 prayers to come into the land of Israel, and God didn't let him in. Then it says in the future he's going to get in. But meanwhile, he's been waiting for almost 3,000 years in order to get into the land of Israel. So if Moses' prayers weren't answered, so what about us? So the answer is no, they're always answered, but they're not answered when we want and how we want. And here's a case where the Rebbe did something that was answered when he wanted and how he wanted. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now Hashem should destroy all of the Amaleks that there are. And I sent a Devar Torah out, and there's a video, and I think the video came out pretty good, actually, frankly. And it's talking about how the Hamas is not a real nation, and that the Jews have considered themselves also not to be a real nation, and that all the names are all confused. And the solution to the whole business is to Jewish identity. Start doing the commandments. Start learning Torah. Jews, be Jewish. And then it'll do away with all of the false accusations and problems in the world. Have a good day with Mashiach now. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
See you Yom Rishon.
Till Yom Rishon, 8:15.